Hey everyone, we just got to play about 2 hours of Forza Horizon, and you know, this is looking like the biggest expansion to date that the series has ever seen. So, David, you've been following the series for a while, so tell me, is there certain things about this game that you're actually really looking forward to?
Yeah, absolutely. I started Forza probably with the first game that came out, and since then there's been many significant changes, and probably Forza Horizon 4's biggest change would have to be its revamped season system that they're utilizing in its brand new location in England. The season system's actually quite more than just anything aesthetic. It's going to be affecting the way that you race, the way that you drift, and quite frankly, a lot of the tune-ups that you might be interested in doing into your car. You're going to have to factor in that in any of these races, at any point, you might have to be driving across multiple versions of different terrain.
You're gonna go off-road a lot, so there's a lot of like driving through trees and like, you know, dense forests, and you know, with the upcoming seasons, they're actually going to change the terrain a lot, and we actually got to see a bit of that during this opening race here, which was a really great way to, you know, get people into, you know, the action and, you know, sort of the pacing of this game. Each season will not only have its own unique driving missions, but also each season will affect sort of the terrain and sort of the driving style you'll have to employ. So obviously, like when you're driving in winter, you're gonna have to be more careful with your turns because things are gonna get really wet, and
you might drift out.
You're gonna drift out, and you know, the same thing happens in autumn as well, because that's when the rain comes in.
They actually said there's still going to be rain in summer too, because that's just classic England for you there.
Of course, of course.
In fact, the one thing that's really cool about Forza and its intros is how it sort of immerses you. It starts out with this very cinematic looking cutscene, and then just bam, you're right in the middle of flying across these tracks in a hypercar. And Forza Horizon 4 did a very good job of showcasing how these seasons are going to be transitioning. At one point you start out on a very standard track with a very nice sports car, and then all of a sudden you are actually flying and driving across ice in a very off-road truck. And so Forza's really excited, it seems, to just kind of bend the experience of your standard open world racing game. You almost have this sort of encouragement to go off-road, to veer into fences, to cause mayhem and destruction, all while trying to get to your waypoint location in a way that's very fun.
I think a lot of that has to do with the fact that they moved the setting to the United Kingdom. This is more of a heavily fictionalized version of like Edinburgh and, like, you know, the English countryside. So we're seeing a lot of like sort of rustic like towns, but also a lot of dense forest.
Absolutely, and in fact you even see a new feature that Forza Horizon 4 is introducing compared to its predecessors, where you now have these bases. It's a great way to show off the new map and the new countryside that they have, and it's a great way to show off the new features where you were able to go to these bases, kind of make them your own, and it looks very, very accurate. It looks really cool, you know? You get to turn it into your own home, and you have all these customization options where you can create different types of styles for your character, for your drive avatar. You can really kind of embellish your personality in it. There's something that's really neat there.
There's actually one, you know, outfit that's basically like a disco chicken outfit, and it is very expensive, and, you know, there was no way I could have afforded that, you know, right from the beginning.
Right.
They want you to earn that by doing all the missions you can. So I was really impressed with how, you know, the amount of detail, like, you know, within each car, but also just in how you can sort of customize your own character, you know, who will, you know, have a greater impact on the world by also, you know, sort of making their presence known within the online world itself. They actually did a lot to sort of expand upon like the drive avatar aspect, because obviously the focus here is the cars, and, you know, it's you know, the world itself is like, you know, a place where there are more cars than people like existing, but which makes sense because this is a driving game. But having the base and, like, you know, having more customization options like for your character goes a really long way to, you know, getting yourself like a sense of place in the world, and that goes into like the online aspect, which they greatly expanded upon in this version of the game as well.
Oh yeah, I mean, these servers are massive. You know, you can have, I believe, over 70 people in one instance at a time. I mean, that is just incredible. Forza has really taken that to heart and really expanded upon it in the new game, where you're able to interact with different people out in the world. When you're online, you're able to challenge them to one-on-one races. You're able to start new events where people can join you, and it's just a really immersive and great way to be able to play with other people online at your own discretion.
And of course, if you want to get away from the online, you can always switch on the option for the solo mode.
Absolutely.
So it's there if you want it, but you're not exactly forced into it, because the developers also stated that they wanted to sort of make sure that people weren't getting griefed by others online.
Absolutely.
Constantly getting hassled and chased throughout the countryside.
And that's a great step that the developer has taken as well, really creating Forza into this type of game where all types of gamers can really enjoy this racing simulator.
And again, this is a big expansion, especially considering from the last game. There's 450 cars this time around. Yeah, it's a lot. And each car has its own sort of specific customization options to them. Obviously, the gearheads will know exactly what you'll want to change.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, and that was a thing that Forza has always been given credit to, is its dedication to having these cars have just an unbelievable amount of customizable options, where you can change things as simple as the tire pressure to the weight of the car itself, to the stock, to the engine. I mean, and at the same time though, which again is a testament to Forza's willingness to embrace all type of gamers, there's also an auto upgrade option available. So for those who might not necessarily know what is the best option for them, there is that availability for them to just upgrade their cars, whichever car that they like, to be able to still stay competitive. Although, of course, those who know what they are doing are going to have that sort of extra competitive edge when they are racing online.
And of course, there's also a really dense soundtrack as well.
Yes.
I heard Kendrick Lamar on the soundtrack during one of my off-road racing missions, and that actually helped me get into the mood, and actually help finish that race. And a soundtrack is always important for a sort of fast-paced, over-the-top racing game like this.
Right, and just going back to Forza's, I would consider it their sense of humor. They have such a variety of different sort of radio channels that you can dial into. You have your typical, heart-thumping techno and your trance and all that sort of stuff, or your heavy rock. But they also have, at least they did in one of the older games, and I hope they have it again here, they had a classical radio station. So if you can
That's actually back.
Oh, it is. Yeah. That's great, because now if you can just imagine yourself flying across hills and doing these, crazy aerial stunts in a Bugatti while listening to Beethoven, it's great.
Yeah, just nailing it. So
yeah, totally. And it's so cool because you end up having this sort of proof that Forza is not just a game where you are going to be going from track to track racing. You do have this option to not just free roam, but actually take part in objectives and side quests that have you do these sort of ridiculous things. I mean, launching yourself off a hill and having these, jets flying over you, that's not something you're going to find very often in other racing games.
Yeah. In addition to, sort of the specific missions that the developers are going to put in, there's also going to be daily missions and weekly missions that you'll have to take part in to, get more rewards, but also maybe access to certain cars and certain customization options for your drivatar.
It does seem to be in your benefit too to open up a variety of different cars, just so you can be able to drive through this terrain as efficiently as possible. So you're not, drifting in your Lamborghini and in a couple of feet of snow.
You don't need to drive your Ferrari in the snow.
Right.
It's just a bad idea.
For those of you who also have the Xbox One Game Pass, all of Xbox One's first-party titles are available for Game Pass owners. And due to its Xbox Play Anywhere system as well, if you have bought the game or pre-ordered the game on one platform, you will also be able to get it on the corresponding platform as well.
But yeah, Forza Horizon is looking fantastic. It's going to be out October 2nd on Xbox One and PC, and players on both platforms will be able to play together during crossplay. So thanks for joining me, David.
Absolutely, my pleasure.
Thanks for watching.
You ready? Ready? Let's do this!